Thank you for taking the time to review Payality's cloud-based payroll and HR solution. This product is really meant to provide you with a paperless solution so that both you and your employees can view data as needed on the web with a secure access 24/7, 365 days a year. The product is widely used in the marketplace. Over 30,000 businesses are using the Payentry solution to pay almost 2.5 million people every month. So really it's meant to be a simple to use yet comprehensive solution. Really the first and really important item is the availability of data. We do not hold back any of your information in order to sell it back to you as a premium, at a premium. All of the data that we have is also available to you. You have over 60 reports that are already preset in the system. And these reports have a great deal of flexibility to them. Allows for your crossovers. You can look at specified periods of time and so forth to determine the type of data you need. For example, let's say that you had a workers' comp audit coming up, and that period went from September 1st of one year until October 31st of the next. Because of the flexibility of the system, you have the ability to go in and override dates and look at very specified periods of time. So in that case, if I wanted to go from a specific date, let's say started in 9/15 of 2014 to a future date, I can certainly do that. So the system allows you to set the date ranges you want. You can run them by the most current pay period, month, quarter, or override the dates as well. In addition, you can choose how you want the data to appear. Do you want it as a PDF document? Do you want it in Word, Excel, or as a CSV, or in some format like that, so you further manipulate the data in the canned reports? You even have filters. Do you only want to look at active employees? Do you only want to look at it for specific departments? And those type of things. So within all of these reports is a great deal of flexibility. You can even have the report emailed automatically once you run it to the person that may be requesting that data. And so it allows you to create that instead of having to save a report or save that PDF file and then email it off. You can do that automatically within the system. So the system has a great deal of flexibility there within those canned reports to get data when and how you need it. But in addition to that, there's a built-in report writer. Now, you don't need to be a programmer to use the system. It's really built like an Excel spreadsheet because you have all of the database, all of the same data we do. It's really easy to get at the information, and you don't need to know any programming language to do so. So let's say, for example, I want to go into the employee list and I want to create something as simple as a birthday report. Well, I just click on the fields. It's building out the report, last name, first name, and I want to know the employee's birthday. So I've created a report on the fly. That data, again, I can save that report and then run it out to Excel, Word, as a PDF, whatever document I want to create. Once I save that report, those reports get added to the list of reports here. So you can begin to build out different reports and go back and reuse those reports, modify them. You can edit them to create the type of information that you need. So really, we're trying to create these access to the data in a comprehensive way so that you do not need to keep stored or reports stored in binders there at your office. There's no reason to have sensitive payroll information like that stored at your office. In addition to these reports, we also have Secure View, and this is really what we use to take a package of reports that you may want to receive. Now, of course, we'll continue to print reports along with checks if you want those delivered to you. But really, if most of our clients are saying, there's no reason to have those reports here, I'll just go grab them as needed, because all of those reports are all archived in here by month, or you can run your quarterly tax reports. All of your quarterly returns are saved in the system as well. And so you're able to go there and grab that information on an as-need basis. So all of the reports are in there and available. So, all right. So, so like I said, really a paperless environment with access to data as you need it through the reporting and the storage of the bundles of reports available on a per pay period basis through SecureView. In the employee information, you're really able to go in and manage all the employees' data in a paperless fashion. This is really meant to be a payroll and an HR solution with a comprehensive set of tabs here that allow you to store information specific to your company and specific for the employee. So for Denise here, so for example, her basic demographic data, Social Security number and so forth, home phone, you could have cell phones and so forth. You have some custom areas that you can track data specific for your company. You can have all the departments set up within the system, and so you actually could have up to 5 levels of distribution for an employee. So if you have branches, locations, jobs within those locations, you can go out to 5 different levels. You can track their status, and then you have fields built within the system that are controlled by you. So if you're wanting to keep track of term reasons, for example, you could build out your own table with a variety of data that you want to store just for yourself. And so this allows you to really customize to your own use specific data that you want to track in the system and report on. And so if you're wanting to track what's causing turnover perhaps or something like that, you'll have these drop-down menus, and you'll see these throughout the system that you control and have that data available. For example, like workers' comp, we're going to preset that data for you in the system, but you'll be able to see those drop-downs, again, specific to your company. Excuse me. All right, so you also have an area where you can store data. What we want to do is eliminate the sticky notes that you put on the side of your, on your computer screen, because you can make notes to yourself, and those notes will appear when you go to do pay entry, the payroll entries. So it'll say, hey, don't forget to take out a $50 advance that you gave to that employee and remind you to take that action. You can store I-9 verifications, re-verification dates for when certain documents expire and so forth, so you can track that data in the system. You can track reviews as well, and so each you can track when their last review was, who performed the review, their next scheduled review, and then details related to that review. What was their raise amount? What was their new pay based on that raise? And then reviewers' notes and employees' notes as it related to that particular review. You can track dependents in the system, and so whether you're wanting to keep this for emergency contacts perhaps, or related to insurance and so forth, you can keep all the employee detail there in the system as it relates to their dependents and keep track of that. There's an educational area where you can keep track of their former education, what degrees they have, and keep that data stored in the system. Emergency contacts again. You can keep track of that very simply in the system as well. And here's a custom area where you can track certain events that occur. If you have people that receive that, FMLA event or a workers' comp injury or something of that nature, again, these drop-down menus will be controlled by you, and you can track different events that occur for that employee throughout the system. You can track previous employment. And if you did reference checks, you can say, who did you call? Why were they terminated? Did you contact them, or can you contact them? What was paid? Did they receive? And free-form area for notes as well, so you can manage and keep that in the system. Different skills, again, you can, you set up these skill levels that you want. Maybe you have people that are licensed that expire or so forth. You can track those and, again, report on those. The system has a comprehensive tool for managing the requirements of the Affordable Care Act. First and foremost, you need to determine if the employee is full-time as it relates to benefit eligibility and so forth. So the system will allow you to track full-time and part-time, and then those variable hour employees that you don't know, that are close to working a 30-hour week, and it fluctuates between that, we can help you determine their ACA status, or if they're a seasonal employee and so forth. It's a critical component of it, and the system tracks that. In addition, and related to the ADA, is all of your different insurance eligibility. So as required by the Affordable Care Act, you need to know what the employee's cost would have been for the lowest cost employee-only coverage for a plan that meets the minimum value requirements of the Affordable Care Act. So we would set up those plans, and you would be able to state that the employee accepted this plan and or waived coverage and so forth. So you have a number of things you can do within that system. So if I went into the details and said what's the employer contribution in the plan, how much the employees, these would actually all be driven by tables that would be set up on the company side. But again, you can track various insurance plans. If you have a smaller plan that's based on age and age banded and also has zip codes and so forth, the system will completely track that, and then you can globally update those insurance plans in the system. You can view the employee's complete pay history, so if you get inquiries on their pay, their refinancing a house or things like that, it's easy to go in and set the custom date range that they're looking for specifically on that report. So if you set and you want to go back and say, I need to know what their wages were from, for all of 2013 for this reporting, you can simply go in, set in the dates, recalculate it, and it's going to give you a summary of all of their earnings, deductions, and taxes for that period of time by the different pay types. The employees also have access to that same information in the employee portal, where they can view all of their prior check stubs and reprint them. They can view W-2 copies. They can view their current accrual balances, whether it's vacation and sick or PTO and so forth. And so they also have their own secure login to view that information as well. But you'll have access to that same information, can reprint check stubs. In case you have an employee that may not want to log on or doesn't have access to do so, you'll have that information there available at your fingertips. System also allows you to set up labor allocation. So if you want, let's say you have your management staff or something like that, you want to distribute their wages between different cost centers, you can set up the system to automatically do those allocations based on a percentage basis. So if you had, for example, 20% going to the Alta Vista, in this case, location, and the remaining 80% going to Crestwood, it would automatically do those labor allocations of both the employee's wages and the employer tax expense. Our system's fully automated to help you with the new requirements of the new California sick pay law. Whether you're deciding to do the upfront method of providing 24 hours to existing employees and then to new hires thereafter, or doing the accrual method of 1 hour for every 30 hours worked, our system will manage that on your behalf, not only for the sick pay, but we also manage vacation and PTO time. Not only will it accrue, and then that if your plan calls for them to earn more based on length of service, it'll graduate them through those accrual rates automatically based on length of service. It'll print the available balances for the employees on their check stubs. For those that are doing the sick pay, the accrual method, it'll even print the accrued amount as well to be in full compliance with that law. And so we're fully automated and are helping our clients actively manage those different accruals. Direct deposits, the employees can have an unlimited number of direct deposits. The most I've ever seen is 7, but here's a perfect example. Excuse me. In this case, the employee has a flat 150 going to a savings account, and then the balance, or 100% of the remaining, going to a checking account. And so that's very common. They can have one account, they can have multiple accounts, they can do certain flat amounts and so forth. We also have a Visa pay card option, so those employees that are unbanked or wish to have a part go to maybe a child in school or someone else, they can set up the Visa pay card. It costs both the employer and the employee nothing to have that card. They can access their entire net pay at any bank for free using the Visa pay card as well. So that's an option that works exactly like direct deposit, except that the money is going on to a Visa debit card. Deductions are managed very easily. All of the deduction types that the client would have would be entered into the system. And then as the employees have new deductions, they're very easy to add. All the deductions would be listed. You can add those. They can be set up as a percentage or a flat amount. If you get garnishments for any, for example, and they have different rules over a certain amount of disposable income and so forth, you actually just provide those to your assigned payroll specialist. We'll set those up in the system and not only take out the correct amount, but we'll also forward both the detail and the deduction electronically directly to the agency if they allow us to do so. And so those would be set up for you. The deductions would occur as the employees are paid. And what's nice here is things are driven off a start date. And so if you hire someone and they enroll immediately, and you know starting on the first of the month following 60 days of employment, they're going to start having that deducted, you can go ahead and set that up immediately and set the date at which you want that deduction to occur. You can manage rates real easy in the system. If you want, again, because it's date driven, you can set up the date at which something would end and when the new rate would start, so you can build out a complete salary history and see from what periods of time that the employee had that rate of pay. And so again, this is really meant to drive you to as paperless environment as possible, allow you to record all of this information for the employee that's available to you 24/7 through a secure login to grab the information as needed. So as you have employee changes throughout the pay period, you can make those changes immediately. There's no waiting for a pay period to start or those type of things. You can make those changes as they occur throughout the pay period. You can report on data as you need it. And then when it's time for payroll, it's really an easy process. You start the check date automatically, and then you go into the batches. Now the batches can be done in one of two ways. There's an Excel type spreadsheet actually that would have your employees listed. It would have the different earning types that you want to use, and again, these headings here can be changed and modified to your preferences. So if you have regular, overtime, double time, holiday, vacation, those type of things, and want to have an easy grid here to do so, you can go ahead and set up the grid in that way. And so it's very simple. You're going to plug in the hours as you go. For each one of the employees, you can plug in their regular overtime and so forth. If you have a salaried employee, you simply click on the auto pay tab and it'll pay them their salary, or the system can be preset to do that. One of the real powers of the system is the ability to pre-calculate the payroll prior to submitting it to us. So you can go in on an individual employee or for the entire payroll for all employees and run a register prior to processing. So you'll know to the penny exactly how your payroll is going to come back. So for this individual employee, I can go ahead and calculate the check, and it's going to show their gross pay, all their deductions, the taxes, the direct deposit detail, including the splits. This employee had 150 to a savings, and the balance to a checking account, and their total net pay. And so you can be extremely confident when you submit the payroll to us for processing that it's going to be 100% accurate. So once you do your payroll batches, you can run totals, you can run the register prior to processing and handle that. The system also has a built-in check calculator, so you'll notice that there's a separate batch called void manuals. What happens if you have to terminate an employee during the pay period, and you have to pay them timely, obviously, when they terminate, you have a built-in check calculator. So you can bring up the affected employee, and you bring in their hours. It's going to, so if you're paying them out regular hours, vacation hours, if they had accrued hours, that balance would show up here. You can just bring in those times, calculate the check, and then print a check stub, and then you write the net check, attach it to the check stub that you can print. You'll enter that check number that you used to produce that check in the system, and then once that manual check is saved, it's going to automatically be submitted with the next scheduled payroll run. So there's no reason for you to have to go back in and rekey that or submit that separately. That process will be managed automatically. So once you submit to us within 10 to 15 minutes at the latest, you'll get an email confirming that the payroll's been processed, and then a link to the reports to take you into secure view, so you can view things like a payroll summary report that's going to detail your total payroll liability. So you'll know to the penny exactly what will be taken out of your account. So we'll collect the taxes, we'll collect the direct deposit amounts, our fees, If you choose to have the checks that are not direct deposited written off our master account, then you can do that. Then we would debit you for those net checks. But then once we debit your account, we're going to handle all of those aspects of the tax payments, the quarterly returns, and all of those filings on your behalf. We'll direct deposit